You about to mess up on this Thanksgiving? You about to mess up, bro?
The doors of the Love Church are now open. Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family? Because we only can take care of us. Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
Yes. All right. Greetings, everyone. I was looking at the work email. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
What's up, fam? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Getting ready for the throwdown and the showdown. What? About to get that macaroni and cheese going. About to get that banana pudding going. About to get those collard greens going. About to get that. How y'all doing?
Hey, listen, man. Let me. If everybody take a second, folks, and like and share my other page. Let me make sure I'm being fair. You know, I'm not just leaving the page out. Hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. Right. Now share. Okay. Tune in. All right. So by way of updates, you know, I like to, you know, I saw old boy today at the barbershop.
Oh,
so
no.
Yes, this just took it to another level. All right, really quickly. First of all, you know, he has been having these back and forth issues, not only with her, but her mom, right? You know, that kind of contentious relationship.
Yeah.
So today, I didn't even ask him anything. We was just going about business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes and says, he just starts kind of venting, and he was like, you know, yeah, he said, so, man, I'm gonna stop letting all this stuff stress me out. I'm not gonna be worried. I said, so what's going on now? Mm-hmm. So now the mother and the stepdad has taken his girlfriend on another cruise for Thanksgiving. But here's the kicker, and this is where I had to get upset, and I had to really get into him this time. Okay. He says, but the mom did not want me to come. And I said, now hold up. That's okay. I said, okay. I said, so hold up. So you with this girl, y'all are living together. Right. You tight. She has I want to say 8 or 9-year-old daughter that he's very instrumental. He helps. He says, I even take her hair down when she's got cornrows.
Oh, wow.
He's really invested. So he says all that stuff. Yeah. And he said the mother told the daughter he's not welcome. And I'm just like, I said, I don't have a problem with this. So then he says to me, about that. I said, you are. That's why you brought it up. I said, it's okay to admit that you heard about something when it comes to something that's like a rejection thing. That's the rejection thing, right? No one wants to experience that. So I told him, I said, you know, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, we joke, we have fun. But I said, you really, really got to think about this thing that you're entering to and that you're involved in. Because I said, you can try to be tough as you want around me, but every time I hear you answer that phone when that woman calls you when you're cutting my hair, when you get off of that phone, I can hear you give her the utmost attention. Number one, it's like, even though he's cutting, he listens to every little thing she says. Then when he's done, love you, you love this woman. So my point is, there's no crime in loving, but don't lose you in the process, right? Don't lose your dignity, don't lose your self-respect, and none of that. And at the end of the day, if she's going to ride with you, she has to be responsible for having that conversation with her mother to put that boundary there. And at the end of the day, you don't. I mean, this is if it's Thanksgiving, right? And it's we rocking to that degree, and you going on a trip with your mom that tells me I'm not welcome. Like seriously, like so. Yeah. I told him, I said, dude, you got to really think this through. I said, because sometimes in life we learn some valuable lessons that we really should have gotten at the onset, right? And we end up going through and learning the lesson on the back end. But I said, in this situation here, it is clear, number one, for whatever reason, the mom doesn't care for you. And the daughter does not defend you.
Right.
So you are not only getting the whatever you get treated with the daughter, but the daughter is letting the mom have rite of passage to come right on in and slap you upside the head emotionally. Yes. And while you're in this loving the daughter, wanting all these things and all this, so I'm like, come on, man, don't do this to yourself. Because I said it'll end up being something that you are affixed to for a season. Mm-hmm. And then you'll see yourself having a lot of resentment and regret on the back end.
Right.
So yeah, that's a serious thing, man.
Yeah. So I think it says a lot when the woman that he is involved with does not defend him to her mother.
For sure.
Doesn't stand up for him, which means he might mean less to her than she means to him. What am I trying to say? What I'm saying is this relationship is a little lopsided. Definitely. Because he obviously, like you said, Charles, he obviously loves her. He is in love with her, willing to do anything for her. He is vested in this relationship. Okay. She is not as vested as he is.
Not at all.
If at all. Because if I allow my parent to disqualify you and not allow you to attend something that you by right, because we are in relationship together, to attend, then that means you don't place as much value on me as I do you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I said it once. I'm gonna say it again. Dude need to hit the road.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He needs to save his own heart. He literally needs to save his own heart because it's obvious this woman does not value his heart.
Yeah.
He values hers. Again, he's vested in a relationship, invested with the daughter. That's not his. You know what I'm saying? But he's filling the role. But she's not willing to take up for him. Yeah. Are you serious right now?
That's deep, man.
Dude, look, I'm not tolerating that. I'm out.
Right. I told him, you know what? I kept it a buck with him today. I said, look, I said you might have to come on the show with me and my boy. And he said, I'm gonna say. I told him, I said, we can just talk this on out. But I said, I know you claim you love her. And I think a lot of times we use the vehicle of love as an excuse to endure things that reflect low self-esteem.
Right.
Because really, so what I've been hearing from you since this past 2 months of knowing you is just, at least from your side of the story. I know there's two sides. I'm sure she has a side. But from your side of it, it just sounds like you on the losing end of it all, on all aspects. There's no value, or I don't see any upside for you unless you just like being the engine that doesn't get seen or heard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I don't know what to tell you. But I said, but focus. If over the holiday, enjoy yourself. Don't allow what's obvious to detract from you enjoying your relaxation, a wonderful holiday. I said, because these are the kind of things that'll dig you further in the sand emotionally, and then you'll start feeling a way about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if a person that you are involved with, is not willing to go to bat for you against their friends, against their parents, and listen, I understand. We have those friends that are close to us that are always looking out on our behalf. We have those parents that are close to us that are looking out on our behalf to make sure that we don't get involved with people who are not worth our time.
That's it.
Okay? But at the same time, if I believe in the relationship that we're in and that it has value to me, then I'm willing to go to bat for them regardless. So, mama, hey,
Back off.
You can have your say. But the reality is if you want me to continue to be with you like this, you got to accept the person that I'm with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's no point in that. And sometimes you can't do that.
And the girl is grown. She ain't no child. You know what I'm saying? Make your own decisions. Right. So I'll tell you this really quick, and I don't even care. I'm gonna say this.
Uh-oh.
The reason it triggered me, and I can pull something out of a bag trick. Mm-hmm. The reason when I saw how upset he was trying to mask it and be pretentious and acting like it's not bothering him, but it was clear that he felt rejected. Right?
Yes.
I can remember a certain insider job in my own family. Okay. I can remember back in this was probably 07-ish, 08, somewhere up in there. Mm-hmm. I remember I was dating this person. The person had not had any run-ins with one of my elder siblings, put it that way. They had no issue, no problem, none of that. Okay. I mean, the person was with me. It wasn't even a situation where I was going over there saying they don't treat me right. You know how family will
right.
the person away if you go to saying something. So it wasn't nothing like that. We were just regular. And that particular sibling, for whatever reason, she was kind of distant and at odds with this particular person. I remember one day on Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving, she was like, yeah, we have a Thanksgiving, the family, everybody's coming over. And I said, yeah, okay, I'm gonna be over there at such and such o'clock.
Okay.
The day of Thanksgiving, this was a defining family moment. I'm in the car. The food was gonna eat at 2:00. I'm in the car like around 12:45, heading that way. She calls me on the phone. Hey, I don't already talk to her. Anyway, she says, hey. She said, hey, bro. I said, hey. She said, what you doing now? I said, heading to you. Oh, okay. You get here. She said, you by yourself? And I said, no. Such and such is with me. Oh, no, Charles. They're not welcome. I said, just chalkboard and scratch across the chalkboard. So I said to her, I'm sorry about that. So I said, I'm sorry to hear that. I hung up the phone with her and did not go. The point I was making was it was much more than just having the fellowship in the moment. It was about making sure that sibling had to acknowledge that they were wrong. It was no reason at all to be funny towards this person.
Right.
A serious girlfriend, it wasn't like, oh, I'm just out talking and I'm bringing any old person around your husband. You understand what I'm saying? You knew I was with this person. So to do this was, to me, that was just like jacked up. So I never forgot that. And that particular time, I didn't go. And to be honest, years after that, it was kind of sparingly to go and maybe not go, to go and maybe, it's been a lot. But nonetheless, when I hear stuff like that, it just kind of, does a little something to me. But anyway,
dude, I'm gonna say this last thing, and we're gonna move on. So, if you can't bring me around your family, and your friends, it's good. I'm out, because obviously you don't think enough of me to bring me to them and introduce me to them. You don't think enough of me. So you know what? Let's go ahead and call it a day. Let's call it, hey, it's been nice, but we got to roll on. This ain't working. This ain't working. This ain't working. It's not working. If I'm a secret from your family and I'm a secret from your friends, this ain't working. Because this ain't no undercover affair as far as I'm concerned. This is not an undercover affair. Let's go.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Especially when the person, the guy gives, and he sows into her. So it's like he's leeching off her. He's giving it his way, but still getting it back in. That's anyway. All right. But take this one. But anyway, today's show, people, we're talking about relationship etiquette. And we talk about a lot of things, desires, I a wife, a husband, a man, somebody in my life, sit time with a companion. But we don't really take the time to have those conversations to see where we stand regarding just either traditional etiquette or even, the etiquette that has evolved over the times, right? We just kind of do things willy-nilly. So you got to pull it up, Adam, or no? Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I got to pull it up. Hold up. Let me get it. Okay, here we go. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Relationship etiquette. Are your behaviors healthy or toxic? Many of us today exhaust ourselves with the search for desire for relationships, and we sometimes forget the little things that prepare us for them. Proper relationship etiquette has become a lost art and is often disregarded in lieu of "this is me, so accepted" concept. Whether an exception or an intention, whether it is too soon or not, let's identify improvement areas and sharpen them. There we go.
Good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
So, there's a million things we can think about when it comes to just like, thinking about how we approach etiquette from the perspective of, okay, let's start with one of the most simplest, but probably most popular etiquette situations. Okay. You meet somebody of interest, they quote unquote, they said they like you, you like them.
Mm-hmm.
At a specific, I guess, age range, we're talking about a specific age range of people dating. How soon is too soon to state where you stand on marital situations? Like, in other words, whether it's what you want, it's not what you want, or is that like a day one, or is that, what's your thoughts on that?
It's not a day one, because that's going to scare some. That's going to scare some people off. That's
all right.
It shouldn't be a day one, at least. Okay. I'm even saying in terms of being older. When I got back into the dating scene, it wasn't a day one date one conversation. The day one date one conversation was me, meeting you initially, getting to know you, us being able to figure out whether or not if we have chemistry or compatibility. I think the whole marriage needs to come in, I would say, around date number maybe 3 or 4. Because again, I figured you gotta figure out whether or not if this is a person that you're actually interested in. And you haven't really spent any significant time with the person to even come up with an idea, a semblance of an idea as to whether or not this is somebody who I can see myself with the rest of my life. So I would give it at least to date 3 or 4. Because I'm thinking about my own relationship with my wife, Maria, and we didn't really start talking about that until Lord have mercy. I just had a flashback. Okay, I'm about to get in trouble. I'm about to tell a story. I got a story to tell you.
Go ahead. All right.
So I remember talking to her, and we had been on a couple of dates, at least. I want to say it had been a few months. And I always bring this up to her because I always think it's the funniest thing ever. My wife she's Mexican, and she grew up in Mexico. She didn't come here to the States until she was in her mid-teens or whatever. And so some of the things that she says, I know what she's saying, but it's funny to hear her say it because, again, she's coming from a Mexican background. And so remember, I think we were kind of talking about, I was kind of hinting around it a little bit. I know it's funny, right? I was actually hinting around the whole marriage idea, right? Interesting. Right. That's a whole nother conversation. But I was kind of talking about, so, what do you think about, the whole, we did talk about it initially. I want to say on like date number 3, but further down the line were where the more substantial conversation started to be had. And so I was saying, what do you think about, getting married, or what are your thoughts about that? And so she said to me, and I'm gonna get in trouble because if she's watching, she's gonna hear it after a while. She says to me, let's talking about marriage. So she didn't really want to talk about marriage. She didn't really want to talk about it. She wanted to have a conversation about having a conversation about marriage. And I was like, what?
So, but dude, listen. Before I'm gonna let you finish. If
Okay.
you remember, you planted the seed on date one. Now, think about it. Date one. I believe it was what? Panera Bread.
Panera Bread, yeah. Panera Bread, yeah.
One, you planted to see whether you went. You didn't go full scale, but from a woman's perspective, if I'm listening to a man talk to me on date one, you said one thing that was a seed that probably, even though she might have said, let's have a conversation about doing this. Oh, people are saying I'm breaking up on here.
You are breaking up. You are. You're going to be breaking up.
Okay, I tell you what, Adam. Hold on. I'm going to go out and come back in. Just kind of keep do a filler. I'm going to go come back in.
Okay.
All right. Back. Yeah.
So like I said, we started having conversations about it a couple of months later. And I think even, I want to say around month number 2, we did have a brief conversation about the idea of getting married again. And again, I'm probably going to get in trouble. She gonna come at me. She gonna come get me, y'all. So if I disappear, you know what happened. My wife did it. Okay. So she says, and we were talking about marriage, and she was like, "Well, what do you think about marriage?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I would love to be married again. When marriage was good, when I was in it, it was good. It was enjoyable. Okay. So, but her response to it was on the opposite end of that, and she was like, "No, I'm not really trying to get married again. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be, I'm trying to, do what I do." And I was like, oh, okay. All right. We'll see about that. And so when I brought it up again, a few months later, that response that she had was in line with the fact that, she wanted to talk about talking about it. And again, when she said it to me, I was like, this is unusual, because often when I was talking or dating with other women, that was almost like you said. I think somebody was saying it. That was almost day one, Bruce. Yeah, that was a day one thing almost. And so for her to have a different perspective and a different, I guess, idea about it was kind of interesting to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it made me go, huh, okay, that's different. So for me, I guess in the whole marriage thing, it definitely removed the pressure and the stress that you often feel when you're dating somebody who wants to be married. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of like put me in a different mindset in terms of my dealings with Maria, in terms of how we were and how we were going to be and everything like that. And so it was a kind of a different thing. It was kind of a different thing. You back with us, Brand? You back with us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, y'all tell me if this happening again. I checked all the connections.
You still breaking up, but you're slightly better. You're slightly better.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you might want to check your connection. Check your connection with your mic to your laptop and see if that's actually okay. Take it out and put it in or something like that, maybe.
Got it. Just hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's where we were at. So Charles, I was telling him about the fact that initially, my wife was not. She didn't necessarily want to get married again. Okay, that was something that came out like earlier on, and so when I came back to that particular topic, that's where the whole "let's talk about talking about it again" came up. Yeah. Which again, I found.
This is what I was saying to you before I got cut off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you good now. You're good.
Saying that on date one, you planted the seed. Probably in the average woman that would have heard you say this, they would have been like, oh, okay, like they may not have commented in the moment, but they'd have went home and said, "Well, girl, he said this." But anyway, you told
What did I say, Charles? What did I say?
You said, "Maria, I only need one."
That's what I said. I was only looking for one woman. That was it.
But on a date, first day, I'm telling you, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying on any dates, If a man looks seriously into a woman's eyes and you sitting there with her and she's feeling all the energy of this man loves me, all of this, and then you say, I just want you to know one thing. I only want one woman. They're going to say, oh my God. Anyway, you said that to her. So that right there set the tone going forward. You understand what I'm saying? Even though
I got what you're saying. I wasn't trying to spit game. It wasn't a line. You know what I'm saying? It was just where I was. I wasn't trying to play games. My whole thing was I'm not trying to shop around. My whole thing is if you're the one, then you're the one. Now time will tell and will prove whether or not if you're the one or not. But I'm letting you know where I'm at with this whole situation.
Right.
That was what I was trying to do at that particular point. But again, even with me saying that, Charles, even with me having said that, she wasn't thinking about trying to get married again.
Wow.
And again, it was a conversation about having a conversation about marriage. That was like, oh, okay, this is where we're at. And so that's why I said I think that should be something that is addressed further down the line in terms of dating, maybe month 3 or 4, you know what I'm saying? When you've gotten to really know the person, you've kind of figured out what your dynamic and your chemistry is with the person, you know what I'm saying? Which will help you to better kind of like approach and address the whole idea of marriage with this person.
So listen, I hear matches flicking in the atmosphere, like matches, striking matches. Let me tell you what the atmosphere is saying. I don't have time to waste my time. I need to know up front that I'm not playing no games. And if you want what I want, or if you don't, I'm going over there because such and such is in my inbox too. I don't have time for this. No, you know what I'm saying? My point is, nowadays, what you're saying is right. I think Demetri said something that's along the lines of you guys were saying, look, I need to know if you are even that tight to even consider to go to that level to have those conversations. Just going on a date and being attracted to you isn't enough. But
it's not.
We think we have taken this unhealthy approach that when we meet you or when we start doing anything a little in one direction or the other, we have to kind of let you know what I want. And when I let you know what I want, now there is a psychological clock ticking to see if you are going to walk those steps that I think you should walk to arrive at that location. Because that's the reality of what really happens instead of people just dating and seeing whether or not it's something. And I think age plays into it. I think there's a certain dynamic. If you probably in your 20s and 30s or whatever, maybe you still want to talk about it or see where people are, but maybe you're not as heavy on it. But as you get a little older, people are like, look now, and we ain't getting no younger. I need to know today. I know it's our first date, and we paid for the deal, but what we doing? So it's a different day and time where folks are now.
I get that part of it. I think, again, I still think that if you jump into it too soon, because I believe in the philosophy of taking it one day at a time, one step at a time. I don't want to rush this situation. Because I'm feeling some kind of way. I want to take my time with it. I want to suss it out. I want to investigate. I want to vet the situation. I want to see how we are in different situations. And if there is some if there is a degree of enduring and resilience, if there's a degree of just strength and fortification within the relationship, regardless of what disagreements we might have, it's after that I'm able to go, you know what, this might be the one.
Wow.
Because after we have had whatever issue we have had, after whatever fight we might have had, if we are like a rubber band and we can come back together again, then that helps me to know this is the one. Because she didn't just write me off. She didn't just kick me to the curb. She didn't just go somewhere else and find some other dude. No, she's in it to be in it. And she's not trying to run away from it. She's willing to address whatever issues. I believe those are the signs that indicate to me this is the one who I want to be committed to.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And I think you can only find that out through the passage of time,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7 months later, you know what I'm saying, up to a year, where you're able to really begin to understand this person for who they actually are, not who they want you to believe that they are.
That's good.
Yeah.
Demetria brought up a good point. She says, I think it also depends on if the person has been married before. And I think in those situations, people that have been married, either they are quickly running the opposite way or they're quickly ready to get back into business because they respect the business of marriage. Even if the people in it aren't necessarily, perfectly aligned initially, they feel like, well, I've heard people say, I just enjoy being married.
Right.
They like being married. And so when they have situations where someone's divorced, they're quickly ready to get back into it again. You know what I'm saying?
The hope is, at least this is the way that I approached it, and I believe my wife also approached it this way, is the fact that because we have been married before, we know the things not to do.
Got it.
We know what to do, but we also know what not to do, which should play a part in the success of the marriage. Now, granted, the person that we were with before, the people that we were with before, are not like us.
Yeah.
Okay. My ex is not anything like my like Maria, and I'm not like anything like her ex.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means there's going to be a variable. There's an X factor there that cannot be accounted for.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, it still gives us the tools with which we are able to create a marriage that is sustainable and successful. Because again, we've been on this path before. Now, yes, the path is different because I'm with a different person, but yet the path is also still familiar because it's a familiar path that I've been down before. Now, again, having been down this path, we ought to be able to know some things, oh, Lord. So with Maria being the way that she is, she's more communicative. That means I have to change because having been in a place where there wasn't a lot of communication, that means now I have to make the adjustment where there now is communication. And now I have to begin to adjust to that in a way that helps us. Again, statistically, and I had to look this up, statistically, second marriages after the first one have a less percentage chance of succeeding than first marriage. And this is true. You can look it up. And so hopefully, and I think sometimes what happens is people get into it thinking that it's going to be like it was before, but they really didn't change their mind about it. And so they approach it with the same mindset that they did before, having not learned anything from the first one.
Wow.
Again, I want to take my previous experience, having been this way before, and I want to apply it to this, but I also want to add that level of flexibility and adjustability because this is different. It's the same, but it's different all at the same time, if you get what I'm saying.
So here's a good one. You said, you think about it from this perspective. This is for the audience, for people listening. That was a good point where you said, we know what not to do. But knowing what not to do is relevant to because what you may not know what not to do may not apply to the new person.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And put it like this. Sometimes knowing what not to do again applies when you are reconciling with the old person.
Right.
You're saying, well, you know what? I probably was doing the most. I was asking. I know I was just being this, and you know what? It took some time to understand it. But with a new person, you have the experience of saying, yeah, I was married for X amount of years and such and such and such. And, oh, believe me, I understand this. And you both can say, right, as spouses. It's like a spousal language. And you can kind of get along a little easier. But because so here's the thing. This is what I was talking about previously. And that's the fact that if you've been married before, and you're looking to get married again, or you're married again, at some point before you get married again, you have to look at that. You got to look at that previous marriage and own what you did or did not do. You have to take responsibility for the mistakes that you made
so that in the new one, you don't commit the same mistakes again. And this is where we are with this. You got to be able to be honest enough with yourself to say, yeah, this is what I did, and this is the reason why it dissolved the way that it did, because this is what I contributed to the dissolving of the relationship.
Right.
Understanding that and taking that knowledge, you are now able to apply it to the new situation and say, okay, this is a new situation. Let me not do that again. Okay, because that's the thing that kind of messed it up. And here's the thing. Everybody knows what they did or did not do.
Right. Right.
Come on, divorcees. Come on, let's be real. Everybody knows what they did or did not do. Let's not act like we don't know. Oh, I was innocent. I didn't do nothing wrong. I was perfect in all my ways. They was always, no, they wasn't always wrong. You was wrong up in there too, just like I was wrong up in there too, okay? And so you got to be willing to be able to be honest with yourself, take responsibility for what you did, and say, okay, you know what? In the next go around, this is what I'm going to do differently. This is how I'm going to handle this particular problem. This is how I'm going to address this particular issue in this way. And again, taking into consideration the fact that the person that you're dealing with is not the person that you used to be with. This is a new person. So it's going to require you to be adjustable and flexible to the new situation, not operate in the old situation, if you get what I'm saying.
Wow, that's good. You know, Dion brought up a good point to kind of chew on. She says, I got married the first time because I was expected to. This time it's because I want to. And what I've always been curious when I've heard people say something similar to that is how do we process desiring to say, because she said she felt like many people, they feel like whatever your situation is, whether, let's just say sometimes it may be tradition, family, church, where you're supposed to, right? And then you go ahead and do it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, wait. But the question I always have is, how do we turn the tides from like an expectation that failed, right? To a desire that we want? Like, is it something that shows up that says, now I'm a better version? Because honestly, a lot of times we say that and we haven't learned the lesson, right? We show up again with the same uniform. Right. And saying, love me the same way I'm going to love you. And the person said, but then you tell them that, and then you tell them that, right? And then you're like, but you want me to believe you will show up differently. And but see, the monster, I believe, in a lot of relations that are either married or otherwise, is comfort. We get comfortable with who we are. Many of us don't want to shine the mirror on how we are. Like those ways about us that are ugly, selfish, all of that kind of self-serving, and all of those little things that come with, you know, you're married to someone and you're blending selves into oneself. So that's the process, but it's beautiful when it's done, but it's ugly in the process, right? So doing that, you're saying to yourself, look, I want this, and I feel like I want to do this. And I think that's a job we have to all say to ourselves. If people find themselves on that second or third or even fourth time around, you say to yourself, what about me right now is better than the first time, the second time? And you got to have that honest conversation, because if not, one, husband one, wife one, husband two, wife two will show up again in marriage 3 and 4. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
If you make those corrections.
Yeah, I think it's important that we approach it with a flexible, adaptable mindset. And honestly, that's in regards to any relationship that you get into. I think often we make the mistake of approaching relationships with a very rigid, inflexible mindset, which means whatever I say is what it's going to be, and I'm not changing.
That's the thing.
That's not reality, ladies and gentlemen. That's not. You can't live your life as rigid and as inflexible as that. If you're going to be now, if you're going to live in a house by yourself like a hermit up in a cave in the hills somewhere, by all means, be as inflexible and as rigid as you want to be. But if you're going to be dealing with other human beings, if you're going to be dealing with other people, you have to be flexible. You have to be adaptable because everybody's a flexible and adaptable.
That's a good point.
I think again, when we approach relationships, we approach it with that rigid mindset, which means whatever changes we need to make, we don't make because we feel as though we're good the way that we are, and we don't need to change. That's not life. Come on, y'all. That's not life. Come on. Yeah. That's not real. You gotta approach it with the thing in mind that I am willing to change. And again, just using myself as an example, dating my wife and then marrying my wife, there were things that I had to change about me if this relationship was going to work. Yeah. I'm about to tell myself. I'm about to tell another story. Can I tell another story real quick? I know I'm about to get it.
Tell a story, man.
Let me tell another story. So I remember. And this was right around Thanksgiving too. It was right around Thanksgiving when this. I think y'all, you might remember this.
Yeah, I remember this.
And so prior to having dated my wife, who works in retail, as a matter of fact. She works in retail. So retail work hours are way different than your office hours. Okay, office people work from 9 to 5. Retail works from
whatever to whatever. Yeah.
Whatever the schedule that is. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so, with regular office hours, you often have the weekends off. Well, with retail, their off days are usually sometimes during the week, and hardly ever off on the weekends because that's when they make the most money on their sales. Okay, or whatever like that. So this particular Thanksgiving holiday, we had only been dating for a little while, maybe so April, maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months, whatever like that. So she had to open up a store at that particular point in time. Okay. She was working crazy hours. And so I'm in the midst, me and my own, regular mindset, hey, what's going on? What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Do you want me to come through or whatever like that? No response whatsoever.
Right.
None. I ain't getting nothing. Crickets, y'all. I said crickets. She ain't said nothing to me. And so this went on for a couple of hours, a day or two. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is happening? And so it wasn't until maybe a day or two later, maybe the day after Thanksgiving. It might have been around the day after Thanksgiving. Yeah, that Black Friday, I think. It might have even been that Saturday, now that I think about that. She finally responded. And at this point, Charles, we had that conversation.
Yeah.
I was done.
You were not done, yeah.
I was out. I was done. I was moving on. I was moving on to whoever was next. I was moving on because I was like, I'm gonna get in trouble. This chick ain't respond to me. She ain't said squat to me. She ain't said nothing to me. And I'm supposed to be good with that? Oh, not the kid. I'm out. I'm done. I'm gone. So she responds back to me finally. I think she texted me and then we talked on the phone. Yeah, and she was explaining to me the fact that she works retail and that her hours are vastly different than your regular office hours. And for me, coming from that place, I was not accustomed to that. I was not used to that. That was not something that I was ever familiar with. So my whole point in saying this is what I had to change. Yeah. In order to accommodate her, for the benefit of the relationship to continue, I had to change. I had to say, okay, you know what? Let's give this another try. And she was like, because you can ask her today. She was like, yeah, he tried to break up with me. He tried to break up with me. Yes, he did. But I got him. I was done. And so she was like, listen, just give it another chance. I'm going to explain to you these hours. This is how we got to do what we got to do or whatever like that. And I was like, okay. Now that you've explained what's happening, I got an idea as to what's happening here. I get it now. Let me work on me. Let me fix me so that I can accommodate what you're doing so that we can continue on in our relationship. That's all. Be open to change. That's what I'm saying.
We had a whole conversation back then. She would Tyrone. That's what she would.
You know what?
So here is the let's shift. All right. So let's shift the curve back into the etiquette. You know, where we are going on to love and I guess it all fits. But anyway, let's talk communication. When it comes to communication, nowadays, I'm just going to say nowadays, you know, once upon a time it was I meet you, you meet me, hey, what you doing? What you doing? I want to see you. I want to see you. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Nowadays, it is so far back in the distance. And now a person you could be with won't say a word to you unless you say something to them. If you don't say something like you know, people, you'll see people saying good morning, or you know, the popular thing is good morning, this and this, good morning, person. And a lot of times, one party or the other would not respond until one person has went first. You understand what I'm saying? And so in my thought process, I think, look, if whoever thinks about whoever first, say something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be formidable and you got to have this process. It's just like, look, if I wake up at 5 in the morning, I'm gonna call my person. If I wake up at 2, at 9, 10, whatever, it's just whatever. But people are kind of like, it's like nowadays we're building cases for people to have our allegiance. And the case is, I need to see a specific consistency from you.
Okay.
Oh, she says I'm doing this again. What about? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but you kind of broke up. Did you plug it back in?
No, I didn't plug it. I unplugged it.
Okay.
I unplugged it on purpose.
So you just got the mic up there for scenery. It's a
I unplugged it because I thought it was doing it. So
okay.
So
it might be just your Wi-Fi connection. That's kind of like.
I got the extender and everything. But anyway, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we almost done it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so you got that communication piece of it. So I just think people need to revisit that part. And it's like, you know, it doesn't have to be so rigid. Whoever thinks about whomever, don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to text. Don't be afraid to initiate, because being stuck in the fear of initiation will kick you out of a relationship quick.
Yeah.
Like if you get stuck, and so after a while, one person or other is going to say, look, this is becoming uncomfortable and it shouldn't be this hard.
Yeah.
Like it's just a, hey, I'm thinking about you. I want to see you. I don't. Whatever.
Right.
You know, whatever. But nowadays we made it so robotic and it's so very close to our feelings on our sleeve. Everything a person do or don't do, you know, I just need somebody who's willing to cut their wrist for me. Oh, you know, it's just like, come on, man. It's like we adults, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, people got to understand this one thing when it comes to this communication piece. Mm-hmm. Both parties, nobody wants to take a loss. Nobody wants to be hurt. Right. Nobody wants to be played with. There is no rule of thumb that one sex is more rigid than the other in this area. Right. Both people are here for a purpose. Right. So let's just get with the purpose and move. All these semantics and fights and bureaucracy all over chess moves, it's immature to me. Like all these chess moves, the person don't do that. You didn't, because you didn't do that. Really? Like, come on, man. It's like if you with the person, you with them. If you're not, you're not. And so here's another quick ship I brought over to her. I mean, not to you. I told you in the beginning of the show about the restaurant part. Here's another part. Here's another question, people. Okay. Y'all tell us this.
Okay.
When it comes to people going, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
When it comes to people going out. So what are your thoughts on, like, in the beginning, whoever initiates going out should initiate facilitating the like, let's just say if somebody say, I want to take you to such and such Sword Steakhouse. Okay, let's go there. Is it the man's job to pay or should the woman pay? Right? And then that's one question. Then on the flip side of it is this: how many dates in is a man expected to lead with his wallet before a woman says, "Hey, don't worry about this. I got that. Now chew on that." All right. So
Lord have mercy, boy.
That's a popular thing. A lot of people, I hear people, the guys that I be around barbershop or when I go to little class, all of them talk about the restaurant. They always talk about, like, they always be saying, one guy said, this is a church guy said, he said, I don't know about y'all brothers when we was in this little meeting. He said, but I don't have a bottomless wallet to date somebody. And so he said it feels like he said, I got a state job that I've been on for some years and I make pretty good money. But he said, but I also have life, I have bills, I have a kid or two, I have money. So he said, I just don't have this entertainment budget to facilitate this person all the time. So he brought it up because he said he went on these dates with this particular person, and the person always wanted to go to all these kind of seafood and steak houses.
Right.
And he said 6 restaurants in, she never said a word about, no, I got it. She just kept on eating and getting up when the bill came. And I told him, I said, in some cases, you got to look at some of these things some of these things aren't dating, because dating is mutual discovery. And if it's a one-sided discovery, you're being observed, as in used.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not being dated, you're being finessed. And people got to wake up and understand that, like, grown people, like, I get it. We all have financial situations. Some people may be in the better ones than others. But if you know yourself, you're not in a great situation, don't tell the guy, take me to the steakhouse unless he invites it, right? If he's telling you, I want steak, I'm taking you, it's no problem, come on. That means he got it. But if you're saying, I want to go to Johnny such and such, they got fresh catch that came in this morning. Do you have the fresh catch money? If not, why are you telling him, niggas? You're not going to pull it out your pocket. I mean, but these things matter when it comes to building a relationship. Because people don't understand. Sometimes the relationship just doesn't move because you think, oh, they're not serious. That person is playing games. No, it don't move because of these broken etiquette.
Wow.
Sometimes it don't move because of small things such as that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a serious thing, but those little things are bumps in the road that keep people from advancing from one spot to the next spot because they don't get it. You know, it's a small thing, but it means a lot when it's not present.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lord have mercy. Yeah, you hit something on that one, Charles. That day, people are like, wait, what? Yeah. So the rule, Dion, I'm kind of with you on this. Whoever did the inviting. However,
she did. Okay.
Yeah, she said she had whoever did the inviting. However, I have, even when I have been invited out, I'm the one that reaches for the bill. Okay.
Right.
Often. Now to my wife is funny. She is sometimes I don't know what to do with her because she don't bless her heart. So and then I'll just give you an example. You know, so we'll go out or whatever like that. And it's always been like this. Always. And it probably will always be like this. Where we will go out, you know, whether it's her saying it or I'm saying it, and we're fighting over who's gonna pay the bill. No, I want to pay the bill. And then she's like, no, I want to pay the bill. And I'm like, and then she's like, you want to go Dutch? Like, no, I don't want to go Dutch today. Let me pay the bill. And he's like, no, I want to pay the bill. And so we're constantly sitting at each other trying to get the bill so we can pay it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just between me and her. And that's how she is. So she doesn't, understand that you know, the way I was brought up, this is old school, so it ain't for everybody. The way I was brought up, the man takes care of it.
For sure.
And I don't have a problem with taking care of it at all. And you're right. I don't have bottomless pockets. I don't. Right. You know, but God has been good to me. Thank God he's been really good to me. So I don't have a problem with picking up the bill and moving on to the next thing. I don't have a problem with picking up the bill and moving on to the next thing. Not a problem with me.
Yeah.
But her, she comes from, and here, let me kind of like give you context with this. She comes from the mindset of a person who is independent, who has their own, who wants to do for her own. Okay. And so she does not have a problem with picking up the bill at all. And so often both of us are butting heads over who wants to pay the bill, because I'm operating how I was raised and she's operating out of her independence. And so we both sitting there playing tug of war with the bill. Who's going to wait? I'm going to pay it. No, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. But again, you know, often I win. No, I'm just playing. No, it's a tie. It's a tie between them both, because sometimes she'll pay, sometimes I'll pay. You know, and it's honestly, fellas, I hear you, I feel you. Yeah. It is so nice for them to pick up the bill, for our women to pick up. It is so nice because it means that they value us.
Correct.
That they are willing to invest financially with us, that they're willing to spend some money on us. It feels so good when that happens. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, hear me out. At the same time, as a man, it also feels just as good as when I can pick up that bill and pay it for myself and pay the bill, you know, and not have my baby pay it. So it works on both ends of it. It works on both ends. Again, I think you need to have a conversation so that you can both come to an understanding as to how we're going to deal with this. And it shouldn't be a thing. Don't let money get him in this, okay? Yeah. Just, you know, figure that thing out.
And then Demetri, the point when she was saying know who we're dealing with, because that's a key point, because sometimes I have learned, because let's get the elephant out of the room. Most women are not going to argue with a man about taking the bill, because women want to be treated. They want to be treated nice. So you're going to take you made the time, take me to a nice restaurant. So that's a given. But I think us men sometimes need to take a deeper step back and say, hey, and I'm not talking about your situation in particular, but just women in general. If a woman is independent to the point where she's like, I got it, I have it. A lot of times women haven't just arrived at a place of independence for no reason. They've gotten there because at some point or another in life, they've allowed someone the rite of passage, and that person turned the rite of passage into control. And then it becomes, didn't I paid for that? I'm not saying, you know, I'm just making an example.
What you're saying.
I paid for this. If you wouldn't nothing, I would take off. You know what I mean? It becomes one of those things where it's an ego fight. And so men can sometimes lure a woman out of her place of comfort and show her an off in the distance mirage of I got it, I'm gonna take care of you, I do it, only to bring her out here and drop her on her butt. So women that have learned that the more harder way, they have vowed to not be in that position again. So the trouble they have is even beyond extended relationship into marriage. It's just what they know is to be responsible for their own emotional safety and financial well-being, because I have learned not to always put my trust in him, right? And depend on him to make the balance. So then we find people that may be, you know, a little overly independent. You're like, come on, I said I got this. I know. So, you know, you got to, sometimes when you see that, you have a little empathy to be like, you know, this person is not just wanting to be independent. They're way because of a reason. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
No, I get that. Again, that's a very, very valid point, because often unfortunately, a lot of men will use money as leverage and control over a woman, as if to say, you cannot exist outside of me. You cannot exist without me. You need what I have. And women have found themselves in that unfortunate position. And this is the reason why a lot of them have become as independent minded as they have. That's a reality. That's an absolute reality. I think it's important, again, brothers, for us to listen real good to this. I think it's important that we treat our women with respect. And that we let them know that they can depend upon us. But I think I want to make a real good point here, especially when it comes to relationships and further down the line of marriages, that it can't just be about dependence or independence. But I want you to pay attention to this word. It has to be about interdependence. And we don't talk about interdependence as a rule. Interdependence means I can depend on you just like you can depend on me. We're not standing apart from each other. We're standing together. Just as I supply you, you supply me, we are supplying each other. So nobody has the dominance in this relationship. We are co-leaders in this. We're partners in this. We're together in this. Okay. And so it's important that in your relationship that there is the element of interdependence. That we are depending on each other. That's the only way that it can really work.
And we got to be honest with ourselves, because this little part right here we're teetering on this line is a very tricky line, because I have heard people who, like you say, there's always that big outcry about vowing to not be controlled, right? Like, I'm in a relationship, but you are not going to control me, that kind of thing. Then you have the fine line where you'll hear the greater masses of the women that will say, oh, believe me, I'm not mad. I will turn all of this over. You can pay this, that, and the other. And then they'll say something like this. Oh, girl, Joe don't let me do nothing. I can't even do. He do everything. He just pay, So it's like you got to pick a side. Because a lot of times what I can't express enough. Yes, there are kind-hearted men out here that will do. But men just are not in the business of doing for no ROI at all. And in most cases, that ROI for a man that avidly does for you is your allegiance, constant availability, attention, and most disguisingly control. Believe me, it's the truth. People don't do things. I guarantee you find yourself in a situation where someone is just funneling you all of this stuff. Try to jump outside. Picture yourself jumping double dutch. Jump outside of that thing and watch the comments you get afterwards.
Right.
So we doing this now? Because I did that, so you wouldn't have to do that. Oh, now it's different. But that's when you got to watch that subtle control that creeps up in there when you are supposedly being nurtured to sleep by a man.
Right.
Typically, men just don't do that and not want anything in return. He can compliment you and be good to you and love you, but it's sometimes when he's constantly requiring you to step back and I got it, sometimes it's because I need you to give me the I got it behavior. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why they do it. That's all.
So let's pull it back a little bit. Let's kind of rewind it back. I think that's going to be that should be a red flag for those that are currently in relationships. That this particular person that you're dealing with is all about their ego, all about how they look, all about how they can control certain situations. Maybe not you yet, because they haven't conditioned you yet for it. But you can tell by how they move, who they talk to, how they talk to them, how they deal with various people in their life, whether or not they are allowing their ego to have dominance over them. And I think these are things that you really need to pay attention to earlier on in the relationship, so that later on you don't find yourself under their control. Yeah. Because once you get there, it's hard to get out of. And again, you got to watch these people in terms of how they do what they do, because often what they'll do prior to them exhibiting control over you is that they will condition you to certain things. They'll make you comfortable with certain things. They'll put you at ease with certain things. And this is all in an effort to condition you for the control they want to exhibit over you. So again, I'm just telling everybody, be on the lookout for people like that, male and female alike, because we have some women that will also try to do the same thing with men. You know what I'm saying? They'll try to exhibit that control over you, to try to make you do what they want you to do. They'll weaponize themselves against you to manipulate you and to control you into what they want you to do. These are red flags. You got to be careful. Let's keep an eye out for these things and make sure that we don't get mixed up with people like that in our lives.
Now, here's a good point. You know, I got to throw sand in there. Here's another good point.
Here we go.
Sometimes we have to understand the reverse of this concept.
Okay.
Sometimes we all are seeking for a certain high level of person, right? You want this particular status. You want particular this, and I want to be comfortable in security and all of that. Mm-hmm. But you got to understand, people that have reached and amassed this type of comfort, they do so by having certain strict standards. They're structured people. And sometimes when you meet a woman or a man that comes to a person that may have this structured standard in place, and if your life is the absolute opposite, it's going to seem chaotic and fearful to you to be around someone who manages life that way, the opposite of you. So that's why it's important to, when you're doing your desiring and saying, I want this type of man and woman, you say, can I pair up with them? Because for them to get to where they are, they're strict and they have a regimen. They're not just willy-nilly and not just all over the place. Right. So a lot of times we show up and as is conditioned, and we just act any kind of way and expect to be patronized. And at the end of the day, no, hey, I'm not trying to control you, but I do things a certain way. I have a system. Yeah. So if you with me, you rolling in my system. If not, you're bucking my system, and we don't probably work. You understand what I'm saying? So
no, I agree with that. I think again that it's important that if that is the case, then if your regimen is a certain way and that it has allowed you to get to a certain place in life, and then you're looking to add another person to your life. Again, like I said previously, there has to be room for adjustment and adaptability, even with the regimen. So the question is this: can your regimen accommodate somebody who may be different from you, who may move different from you? Because if it can't accommodate them, then they're probably not the person for you, unless you're willing to make a change.
Wow.
Your willingness is going to determine whether or not they can be a part of your life. Yes, your regimen is what it is. I understand that. But is your regimen so rigid and inflexible that it doesn't allow for variables, doesn't allow for X factors, doesn't allow for things that you haven't accounted for yet? You're not adjustable. You're not flexible in that way. So that means maybe this person isn't for you. And that's you need to be able to look at that and honestly admit to yourself, okay, maybe I need to move on to somebody else who fits in with my regimen a little bit more, who is in agreement with my regimen more.
Well, you didn't want Maria to work retail. Anyway, no, I'm just joking. I'm kidding.
Listen, I'm already in trouble. I already know it. So, like I said, if y'all don't see me next week, you know what happened. You know what happened.
But before we get out of here, we got to tap on. Well, let me go through these quick things because I meant to. I'll post these in the chat, but I'm just going to read them really fast, and just so they all are kind of etiquette things. I didn't want to just. They're basically etiquette tips for relationships. So basically, I'll go through them really quickly. Be respectful. Treat others with the same dignity and respect you deserve. Mm-hmm. Communicate. Participate in conversations and be open. Be accepting. Be realistic and accepting of others. Be gracious. Thank people for their time and say a nice evening. Put your phone away. This is a popular one. Turn off your phone or put it on silent and put it away during dates. Don't threaten relationships. Avoid creating an imbalance of power by threatening to break up. Be honest and trustworthy. Healthy relationships are built on trust, honesty, and respect. Be equitable. Partners should have equal say in the relationship and respect each other's independence. 3 more. Be loyal. Look out for your partner's best interest and advocate for them. Make an effort. Healthy relationships require effort and compromise from both partners. Lastly, practice common courtesy. Ask, listen, notice, compliment, and thank others. So we got to learn to stretch, because a lot of times we out here dating, loving, marrying, all over the place and willy-nilly, and we just ignoring proper etiquette.
Right.
Sometimes think about how better your relationship can be with respectful etiquette implemented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stuff like
Yeah.
So, we appreciate you all tuning in again to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, where we talked about relationship etiquette. Are your behaviors healthy or toxic? I believe we found out a lot. Anyway, no, we appreciate everybody tuning in today for sure. Real talk. And we do want to say from the show that we wish everyone a healthy and happy and a full, like hungry, full Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Get in some good food and all that.
Get it in.
We'll try to be back next week. Come back Thursday next time. Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Like you said, we wish you all happy holidays and escape holidays. And so now, after we got the show, now I'm going to tell you how I really feel about.
If your system holds up, your system is jacked, bro. But anyway, yeah, let's go.
Is it going now?
No, you're fine. You can go ahead and do the outro. We'll do it on the other side.
All right.
Hey.
All right. Can you hear me, Adam?
I can hear you, but you staticky, bro. But I can hear you.
Oh, man. I'm static.
I mean, you okay for right now? We at the end of the show.
I don't know what's going on today. This is.
We're going to figure it out after we get off the air. We're going to figure it out.
What black folks got to say, it is the devil. Look, it just be your Wi-Fi.
No, it's not the devil this time. It ain't him this time. It's you. It's not him. It's you, bro.
You don't want the message to get out. Oh, my Lord. But anyway, so yeah, no, for sure, man. Be cognizant of etiquette. Are you moving properly out here? Like, like I said, communication is big. Mm-hmm. Divulging of certain information. When do you not? Exposing to different family and friends what's reasonable, what's unreasonable.
Right.
Having a conversation about marriage, sex, let's see, space. This is big. Coming to somebody's place, to the other place, to the other place, to the other place, and boundaries, especially if there are kids involved or not. You know what I mean? It's a whole lot of things. And then, like I said, those are some of the main ones to kind of hone in on and see how you holding up in terms of etiquette. Are you kind of walking properly in these spaces, and do you and the other person see it kind of the same or not? That's important to kind of establish sooner than later, so that you can see that you all are being healthy along the way.
Right.
What you got to say?
I don't have enough of this because I need you to get off the air so we can fix this problem because this is driving me crazy, bro.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Okay. I'm getting off of here then. All right then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess my system is on Section 8 today.
Yeah, it is. No lie. It's on Section 8, bro. Barry Farms.